welcome to a new episode of Sugarfolk Homemade, my podcast where I talk about all the things I have been crafting. If you're new here, my name is Michaela, and I live in a small town in North Carolina with my husband and our 3 kids. I feel like someone asked me once what their ages were, because I don't know that I've mentioned it before. But my oldest is Porter. He is 4. My middle is Rosie. She is 3. And then my youngest is Samuel. We call him Sammy. And he will be 2 in about 2 weeks. So I do have my hands full. If you're a returning viewer, you probably know that because sometimes they will make an appearance. But they are down for a nap right now. We'll see how that goes. I always try to film during nap time, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but it's all good. It's been a while. Well, it really hasn't been that long. I always say it's been so long, but that's because I have the intention to film and then something happens and I am not able to, and then I have the intention again and it fails. And so to me, it feels like it's been a long time because 2 weeks ago I planned on filming, and then I planned on filming last week. And to be honest, life has just been overwhelming the past, 3 months. As some of you may remember, we lost my husband's father a couple months ago, and since then my mom has been having really bad health issues, so we're going through that too, and it's just been a lot. So yeah, our schedules get messed up, not messed up because there's nothing wrong with changing them, but things are changed a lot, and so yeah, it just makes for a little bit of a crazy season, but all is well in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, I do have a good bit to show you, and yeah, very excited. Also, I'm excited about the Christmas tree here. I just love the coziness that having the Christmas tree up in the house brings to the home in general. It's my favorite time of year. It's my husband's favorite time of year. You can't see, but he has this whole table for all his little Christmas houses. He has like a little neighborhood, and then we also have on our TV stand more Christmas houses. I feel like in most relationships, it's typically the wife who wants to go overboard with Christmas decorations, but in our case, it is most definitely my husband. I love Christmas decorations, don't get me wrong, but he is like, if he could deck the whole house out with like changing the curtains and like the rug and everything, he would do it. But I put a stop at the Christmas houses. We have lots of decor. So anyways, enough rambling. I'm drinking some coffee from this morning. I just reheated it because I never got to finish it. Toddlers. And it's got some peppermint mocha creamer. It's delicious. So let's jump in. I have 3 finished objects, 2 new cast-ons, a little bit of acquisitions, and then just some random things within, spread, whatever. Okay, so finished object number 1 is this hat and peak beanie that I made for my husband for his birthday. I did post this on Instagram, so you've probably seen it already. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I will put my name below so you can go follow me. Yeah, it's just a very simple color work beanie. This is the first knit hat that I've ever made, so I wasn't even sure about the construction. I've crocheted beanies before, and so you typically start with the crown and it's just a circle, and then you do your increases and stuff like that. But this was a bit different because I've never knit one before. But it was very easy. This only took me a couple weeks. And I used the extra yarn from my Jupiter crop. So this is all Cascade 220 Sport. I didn't do a gauge swatch for this because I've done a gauge swatch for, this is by Max the Knitter. I have done, I'm doing a sweater by him at the moment, and I did do a small gauge swatch for that and learned that he seems to have a bit of a tighter gauge, as do I. So I thought I would just knit the biggest size and we'd be good. And it was looking pretty small, but I was able to block it out. And all in all, I really like this hat. It actually matches my sweater perfect today. The only issue I had was, well, and I also did mess up, but now I can't even find where it was. Anyways, I did have some issue with, and this is probably my fault, I should have done more research or like just been wiser about my color choices. The contrast between the blue and the white is so harsh that you can see where I've caught the floats inside, like the blue kind of shines through, and it's not that big of a deal. And you can see here, this was the beginning of the round. That's where I messed up. There's a white stitch in there. And with color work, it's always so, there's always like a line of demarcation, I guess, where your beginning of the round is, so things don't match up perfectly, but I just tell him to put that in the back. So yeah, you can kind of see the colors through, but it's not a big deal. It does have to stretch quite a bit to fit on his head, so you're able to see, you can see, it's just not as neat as I would have liked for it to be. But all in all, a good hat. I like it. I think I like it more than he does, to be honest. He's only worn it a couple times, and he says that he likes it, so maybe he does, but I haven't seen him wear it very much. But it was a quick knit, so I'm not too bothered. And it also fits my son as more of a slouchy beanie, so it'll get used regardless. So yeah, that is my Hat and Peak beanie by Max the Knitter. Really, really lovely pattern. Very easy to follow. It's still in my second color work project, and I would say it went pretty well. I'm learning how to deal with my tension in color work, and I think I'm getting to where it's pretty consistent with my stockinette. I have to be very mindful about it, but all in all, I think it's turning out well. So that is my first finished object. Next, I have my socks that, oh my gosh, these socks have been going on for so long because I'm knitting these for myself, and they just took a back seat for a long time. I finally finished them, and these are just, I wouldn't say they're shorties, but they're definitely not longies. I like these, I like socks to fit like right, maybe like an inch above my ankle, so that they still pop out of little booties and such, but they're not too tall. I feel like tall socks, it make my legs itch, so I try to keep them a little bit shorter. But ever since I finished these, I kid you not, I've literally worn them almost every single day. And that may sound gross, I guess, but I'm at home, I'm just walking around my house. And they also just don't, I feel like knit socks, wool just doesn't stink. Like, it's just so breathable. And I've never worn solid wool, like, they're not solid wool because they have nylon, but I've never worn hand knit socks before that are made of wool. And I didn't realize how awesome they are. They're so breathable, but they're so warm. I just love them. So yeah. This is Regia 4-ply in the colorway Cardamom. I really, really like these colors. They honestly seem to go with everything that I wear. Like they would even go with this. I feel like this color's not in there, but it's just, they're neutrals to me. Even though they're colorful, they're also neutral colorfuls, if that makes sense. To my eye, anyways. And then the heel is just a hand-dyed yarn from Uprooted Farm and Fiber Company. She so graciously and generously sent me 3 skeins of this sock yarn in the colorway Rosalie for my daughter. And I've just kind of been using it wherever I can, and so I thought it looked nice with these, so that's where I put them. And then I have my other sock. You can tell I've been wearing it. It's already shaped to my foot. I did not block these. I just put them straight on, and I've been wearing them, and now I will say they're blocked. So that was finished object number 2. And finished object number 3 I actually don't have with me because it is my son's blanket. I finally finished it, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will put a little picture over here. I asked him if I could have it to film during nap time, and it almost brought him to tears. He was like, no way, this is my blanket, I need it for nap time. So I said, okay, I won't disturb you in that way. So he has it, but I did finish it. It's the perfect size for him. It's a little wonky in some places because I think I might have like knit crocheted too many stitches on a few rows. Like I accidentally crocheted into the turning chain instead of turning. And I did that because I think what threw me off is I was changing colors in the turning chain whenever I would change the colors, and so I couldn't quite see where I was supposed to end. And it's fine. All in all, it works out. It's a blanket, and he's 4, so he doesn't mind. But yeah, that is finished, and I'm glad to have that complete because I'm going to be starting another crocheted blanket in a few weeks after I get all of the yarn for it. And I'm going to put a picture of what I'm going to start over here. It is a very intricate, very long project that I will be starting for my sister. She picked this blanket out probably 2 years ago when I was just crocheting, and before I could get to it to make it to her, I found knitting, and the rest is history. But I'm going back to it, and I want to make it for her birthday next year, which is in September. So I think I can do it. I'm pretty quick with crochet, I think, so as long as I focus on it, I should be able to have that ready for her. Okay, moving on to cast-ons. I have 2 new cast-ons, and oops, I've got quite the mess over here beside me with everything. So I casted on a new pair of socks for my friend Catherine. Catherine, if you are watching this by any chance, if you don't want to see these socks, then turn it off. I have not shown her what these look like. I have told her that I'm making her socks, but she doesn't know what they are. So I'm making her a little Hocus Pocus socks. These are by this Handmade Life. I really like her sock patterns. She has very nice cables and lacy socks. I made a pair of her socks for my sister-in-law last Christmas. So when I wanted a new pair for Catherine, I went straight to her Ravelry and found these. And so far, this is what I have got. They look really small, but they will stretch. I've tried them on my foot and they fit, so that's a good sign. They're just a little small. But yeah, I love this cabled pattern. The cable just goes down the outside of the foot, and I have done contrast cuff heel, and I will do the toe as well. So this is Patton's Croy in the colorway Cadet Colors, right? I'm pretty sure that's correct. And then the gray is actually leftovers from my sister-in-law's socks from last year, which is Millamia Naturally Soft Sock Yarn. And I am almost positive this is the colorway Silver Birch. It's a gray, but it almost has like I don't want to say sheen because it's not shiny and it doesn't have any glitter or anything, but I don't know. Silver Birch is a really good name for it because it looks silver. And it also has a little bit of like a green undertone. You have to look really hard to see that, but a really nice color. And I thought it paired nicely with this. I was nervous about the cables not really showing up well with this Patton's Croy color, but I looked up this yarn specifically on Ravelry and found projects where people had used it, and a lot of people had done cables with it and they looked great, so thought I'd give it a shot. So yeah, I really like these. These are coming along really quick, for me at least. I'm usually pretty slow with socks, I think because I just forget about them. But I want these done by Christmas for her, and this is only about 2 weeks of progress, I think. Of course, I've been working on other things as well, but I think I've done pretty well. So it's a 2x2 cuff and eye partridge heel, which I actually learned through this Handmade Life, her sock patterns. That's what she uses, and I just really like the way it looks. So yeah, I've got a bunch of stitch markers on here with my beginning of round and then marking off the pattern and then the edges of the feet. I could take the edges of the feet off where it separates the top of the foot and the bottom of the foot, But I find that they're not that much of a hassle to just leave there, and it helps me when I get down to the toe. So I just leave them on there. And I'm keeping these in my little sock bag from Sue. I talked about that 2 episodes ago. I'll leave a link to her Instagram down below. So yeah, really loving these socks, loving knitting on these. I will say it's a little tricky to do cables in such a tiny little thing. And I knit very tightly when I do socks. I always knit on 2.5 millimeters. And this is a 64 stitch cast on, and you can tell that it looks small. It stretches, of course, but I am a tight sock knitter. So getting those cables in there is a little tricky. When I'm doing the cables towards the back, those are totally fine. But when I'm doing the cables in the front, I have a little bit of a hard time getting into those next stitches because the cable is just in my way. But it's working out, and I really, really like these. I'm a little bit jealous, honestly. I might have to make a pair for myself afterwards. I just really like this color, and these Patons Kroy, this specific Patons Kroy yarn, it does not feel like a fingering weight to me, and I've heard someone else say this before too, but it is much squishier than even my socks. Like, it just feels squishier and thicker, and I really like the fabric that it creates because it's so tight and it's just so squishy. The best thing for socks. Nice, very, very warm socks. So that is that. Moving on to my next cast on. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of coffee first. And I'm sorry if it feels like I'm flying through these. I have a really terrible battery on my phone, and it always likes to die on me at the worst times, so I don't want that to happen. Okay, my next cast on is something that I've made before in the past, but I'm doing a different style, I would say. And that is the Lille Dahlia. It's a pattern that has instructions for a cardigan, a top, a sweater, a dress, and a romper suit, like a onesie. And I made the onesie back in the summer for my niece, Ashley. And I was thinking about making a sweater for my daughter because she is a little bit short on winter clothes, or just warm clothes in general, long sleeves in specific, in particular. And I already had this pattern, and so it takes fingering weight yarn, so I measured out how much of the yarn that I had from this, because it's fingering weight, and I had almost to the digit the perfect amount. So I casted on the cardigan for her, and I haven't got very far, but I have, and I'm making the 4-year-old size because I am hoping it'll fit her all of next year. This will be a good cardigan for the spring too because of the color. And I did not do a gauge swatch because when I made the onesie for my niece, it turned out exactly the size it was supposed to. So I'm hoping that happens this time as well. So I've just got the ribbing for the collar completed, and probably about 5 rows or so of the pattern, the charted pattern. It is a chart, and the chart is very small. And charts in general, when the repeat, it's a very long chart, and it just hurts my eyes to look at it, so I write down each row before I do it, just so that I'm not getting confused. And that works pretty well for me. Now, last time I made this pattern, I had an issue where the sides of the leaves, I don't know if you can see this. Okay, so you can see there's holes on both sides. That's where the leaves start to take shape. And I was having an issue where one side, the holes were much bigger than the other side. And I figured it probably came down to a difference in my knitting and purling tensions, because it's worked back and forth, not in the round. So what I've been doing this time, someone mentioned to me to try, I think it was Norwegian purling. It's a different kind of purling because I knit continental with the working yarn in my left hand. So usually when I would purl, I'd have to switch over to my right hand and then use my right hand to move it back and forth. But with this new purling, I'm pretty sure it's Norwegian purling. You keep it in your left hand and you just kind of work around it. It takes a little bit more wrist action and it's a bit more complicated of a stitch, but I think that it gives me the same tension as my knit stitches. It just, so far it seems to be working, and these are exactly the same size, the little holes, what do you call that? The little eyelets? Lace? I don't know. But they're turning out to be the same size on both sides. So I will say that that has saved me, and it's also very helpful using the Norwegian purling whenever I'm not purling a lot. Like if I'm purling a whole row, I'll use my right hand and just do it that way. But when there's just like a purl here or a purl there, I'll do the Norwegian purl because it's a lot easier to just keep that yarn on my left finger instead of having to switch back and forth a lot. So yeah, I haven't made a ton of progress on this, but that is mainly because I'm trying so hard to finish up gifts and other things, and then I'll move straight into this to finish this up for her. And I think it'll be pretty. I didn't think about the fact that because this yarn is like speckled and it just has different colors in it, it probably wouldn't be the best to show off a design like this, because it is, in most of the pictures, it's just a solid color. But I think it'll be fine. And I already had the yarn, I already had the pattern, so gotta do what you gotta do. I've mentioned before, I'm a very budget-friendly knitter. I wish I had enough to splurge on nice new yarn all the time, but I don't, so I do what I can. So that is my last cast on. Now I will move into whips, and I'm going to start with my husband's sweater that I have been working on for him. This was is supposed to be his Christmas gift. I'm not sure if it's going to get completed. Also, there are no needles on this at the moment, and I really hope I don't drop any stitches. But this is the So Basic sweater by Max the Knitter, and it's just a basic raglan sweater, but the sleeves have a detail to them. You can see there's a ridge, a vertical line that goes down on each side. So I'm making him the large, and I got to the point where it said to separate for the sleeves, and so I did, and I did that whole round, separated for the sleeves, and then I looked at it and I said, this just does not look right. And come to find out, my row gauge is off. My stitch gauge is fine, so even if I would have gone up a needle size or something, I feel like I still would have struggled one way or the other because I just have a short row gauge in general. So I was looking at it and I said, that's going to be really tight under his armpits, and I know he would hate that. So I found a sweater of his that he likes the fit of, and I'm going to try to copy that construction. So from here on out, I'm basically going to be freestyling the rest of the pattern with the exception of the sleeves. Like the pattern in the sleeves will still be the same, but all the numbers as far as how many stitches are on the sleeves and how many are going to end up on the body, it's going to be a little different because I need to do more increases down because I need some more depth in the raglan. But I think overall that'll be fine. It's better that way to have it like custom tailored to him than to just do it by the pattern and then him not love it and not wear it, because this is a lot of knitting. This is fingering weight yarn, and he's a big guy, so yeah, I don't want this to be a waste. I mean, you can tell this is really big, and I haven't stretched it out all the way because I don't want it to fall off the cable, but it's very large. I'm actually kind of excited to wear this for myself as like just a big baggy sweater. I really like this yarn. It's really cozy. And this is the, oh no, what is it? Oh, here it is. Sirdar Country Classic, and 4-ply, and it doesn't say the colorway on here, but I think it was called khaki green or something like that. I remember it's something that doesn't really match because this does not look green to me. This looks gray. But yeah, I really, really like the fabric that this gives. It's super soft. It's 50% wool, 50% acrylic. So it has that rustic feel to it, but it also isn't super scratchy because my husband, I feel like, is a little sensitive to that. As am I, honestly. So yeah, that's coming along. I'm hoping that once I get separated for the sleeves, it's just going to be stockinette, and that should go pretty quickly. The sleeves take me a little bit because there is that like interruption of the purl to create the vertical lines. But yeah, overall, it might not get done by Christmas, but I will get it done for him eventually, and that's all that matters. He has other Christmas gifts from me too, so it's not like he's just out of luck on Christmas Day. We still do a stocking for each other, so he's got some goodies in there from me. And my next whip is my shawlography, and I finally finished clue number 2. I just finished it this morning. Actually, I haven't even cut these yet. Let me cut it off of the balls so I can show you guys. Clue 2 took me a lot longer than anticipated, and I'm not even sure why, because once I got going, it didn't take me that long. I think I was intimidated by the big wedges. I thought that they would take a long time, but they didn't. They did not take that long. I just had to do them. So I'm trying to get this spread out on this giant cable without losing any stitches. Okay. All right. So this is my shawlography. Woo. So clue 2, I believe, started with the welts, or no, maybe it started here. It was a long clue. It was long. But I absolutely love the way this is turning out. It's very Harry Potter-y to me, which is perfect. I love Harry Potter. Me and my husband have like a Harry Potter marathon every fall. And that's when I started this. And I think subconsciously those colors were just in my brain, and that's why I chose these colors. But it works out because I really like it. I was nervous, and I just posted this on my Instagram this morning. I was nervous because these sections, the two colors are supposed to contrast each other, and mine are purple and brown, which kind of look exactly the same when you're looking at them from far away. But because they're both tonals, it gives it that element, at least to these sections. So you might not be able to see the contrast in the stripes, but you can see the beautiful changes throughout, and I just really, really like that. I know people talk about pooling with tonals, and given if this was a garment or something, it may have had that effect, but it really worked out beautifully. I feel like it's very evenly spaced throughout the wedges. And yeah, I just really, really, I love that there was a big enough section like this to get that tonal effect, because in the other sections you can't really notice very much because they're not, the colors don't stay for as long, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm really excited to block it and have these colors stand out more. And I've seen pictures of finished block shawlographies, and they're huge. They're so much bigger than I thought, which is good, because I think when I get to clue 4 and I get to the big border around, I think I'm going to shorten my stripes a little bit so that, 1, it doesn't take as long, and 2, I feel like the stripes, in my opinion, the border stripes, are a little too long. Like, they kind of are distracting. I don't know how to put it into words, but I think for me, I want to shorten them a little bit vertically. So I'll still have all the stripes around, but they'll just be a little shorter. And it'll still be a good size shawl, because, that thing is massive already. So that is my shawlography. I'm loving it. I thought about putting this like in hibernation until next fall, but I can't do that because I'm planning on using the leftover yarn to make socks for my kids for Christmas, and I don't want to do that until I know how much exactly I have left. So yeah, I need to get this finished so that I can do that. Thankfully, they're all little, so the socks will take no time. Their feet are like this big. So, yeah, I just need to, and I have been getting to work on this to get this completed. Also, these 4mm needles, are they 4? No, size, it's a US 4, 3.5mm. These needles, I need these needles for like every project that I'm working on right now, so it's very frustrating to have to keep taking them off and switching them around. So I'm ready to free up at least one project with these so that I can have them back. Okay, next thing that is knitting related, I went to the thrift store this past weekend to look for wool sweaters that I could maybe take apart to use the yarn for. And I did find one, but I actually like the sweater too much to take it apart. And I didn't bring it up here with me, but it's just like it's almost like a coat, but it's a sweater. It's like a kind of cropped. I have it on in the family picture that I posted on Instagram a couple weeks ago, or last week. So yeah, I really, really like that one. And it was only like 50% wool, but I really like the sweater itself, so I'm not going to take it apart. And then another one that I got, I don't think it was hand knit, but it says in the tag it is made in the USA by, it says quality knitwear. I can't speak to the quality though, because it has holes all over it. I did not notice that when I bought it, and I don't think it's knit. It looks more crochet to me, and I could be wrong. But where it is starting to get holes, I've just been tying the yarn back in a knot, and I'll deal with it later. I might take it apart for the yarn, I might not. But one that I did get to take apart for the yarn is this sweater. And I would like this sweater, except for the fact that it has a hood, and I'm not much of a hooded sweater type person, and it's a large, which is too big for me. But this is not wool. I just felt it, and I said, I like that, and I think I want to make something with that. It's actually 55% Ramie, I don't know if that's how you say that, and 45% acrylic. But it feels really nice. Oh no, my battery's gonna die. Okay, I gotta hurry. It popped up the notification, that's what I was looking at. But yeah, I really like this color. It's very tweedy and green. It's green. I just really like it. So I have to watch a tutorial of how to undo this so that I don't just make a mess out of it. And maybe I can make a shawl with this. Okay, now I gotta go quick. I always show you guys an old project that I've made, and for this week I thought it'd be fitting to show you this apron that I wear every year on Thanksgiving. It's my Thanksgiving apron. I made this a few years ago. It's an apron dress, and you can see it slips over your head. You got 2 pockets in the front, and then 2 ties on the side to tie in the back. I love this thing. This is my first like big sewing project, and it is the Simplicity 8230 pattern. This is another Dottie Angel pattern. I love her stuff. Super, super cute. So you can tie it in the back like here, or you can tie it in the front. I probably should have taken this out of the bag so you could see it better. But yeah, I wear this every Thanksgiving. It's very Thanksgiving colors to me. I love these little like pleated pockets. Super cute. If you look close enough, my sewing skills are subpar, but got the job done, so it's all that matters. Next, I'll show you real quick. I've been working on a paint by number. I love to paint, but I'm not good at it, so I ordered this paint by number years ago. It's beautiful. This is what it looks like at the end. A vintage antique chair with some flowers. And I forgot about it until this past week, so I got it back out, and I've been working on it. You can't really tell what it is yet. And also when I bought this, I did not realize how intricate it was, but I think it'll be nice when it's done. You can see the chair here. That's what I've been working on this week. All the paint has dried out though, so I'm having to like really like get in there and mix it with water to try and loosen it back up because I can't find these same colors. I probably could if I went to like a paint store, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding. I looked at Walmart and I couldn't find a lot of the colors because some of them are very close in shade, and I need that exact shade so that they don't run together or they don't look the same. Okay, I could ramble on forever, but of course my battery is gonna force me to stop. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry that it always takes me so long to get back on here. I hope you all have a lovely Thanksgiving if you are celebrating. And one thing that I'm thankful for is all of you. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week and a good weekend. And I hope to see you guys, chat with you guys again before Christmas. Crossing my fingers, don't hold me to it, but I really want to. So until then, happy crafting.